So, you want to start a surfactant company. I get approached by people very regularly who want to do just that. And it's funny, I also talk to folks that have done that 30, 40, 50 years ago who tell me today, Neil, you know what? I just couldn't do it. It is so much more difficult to do today. However, for those founders out there who are optimistic, who are intent in starting a surfactant company, this podcast is for you. So, there are 5 things to master before you start your company. Number 1, product market fit. It's obvious. You have to solve a problem, bring a solution to the market. You have to be cost effective. Sustainability is not enough. Think carefully about that. And of course, the product market fit is different depending on where in the world you happen to be. In the US, certain problems have been solved. In India or the Middle East or in Asian markets, there are other problems which need solving. Certain countries have very targeted and generous import substitution programs, for example, which could give you an incredibly good head start in finding that product market fit. So please do spend a lot of time on figuring out that pretty basic concept. Number 2 is what I call the team market fit. Founder market fit, of course, is critical. And if you as a founder are not from the industry, don't have a presence in the industry, that's okay. But when you look at your team as a whole, I want to see a fit with your target market. And when we talk about team, we're really talking about 5 key seats around the table that have to be filled. And maybe on day 1, you're filling all of those 5 seats. But nevertheless, you have to think consciously about who is filling the following seats. The CEO, obviously. Manufacturing, you got to make the products. Development, you got to develop the products. Commercial, you got to sell and market the products. And finance, you have to keep score. So there's 5 basic seats there that have to be filled. And from the very first day, you have to know who you're looking to fill each of those seats. Even though, as I say, on day 1, it may be you that's filling all 5. So team market fit is, again, incredibly important. Number 3 is regulatory, especially if what you're proposing to bring to market is a brand new product. And so I'm going to encourage you to know a lot more on day 1 than you should think you should know about things like TSCA, Toxic Substances Control Act, REACH in Europe, INCI names globally, all over the world, China, their system for new chemical registration and chemical registration for different markets, Australia, Canada, on and on. All these things are extraordinarily important. Now, given that the big markets for surfactants are in cleaning, especially household, industrial, institutional cleaning, as well as personal care and cosmetics, you've really got to understand TSCA, the EPA, how it approves new chemicals, as well as the INCI naming system. Now, think carefully about bringing to market an existing product. There are many benefits to bringing an existing product to market. For example, if you've got a way to get to alpha olefin sulfonate, good old AOS, that is 100% bio-based, you've got the advantage there of, and assuming it's cost effective, of course, you've got the advantage there of an existing product, an existing set of registrations globally, but a brand new value proposition. So again, regulatory, extraordinarily important. Number 4, supply chain. It's not enough to just have this sketched out on a bit of paper, starting from, say, commonly available oils and fats or sugars, whatever it happens to be. You've got to think this all the way through from beginning to end. When you sit down with the big surfactant users, the P&Gs, Unilevers of the world, L'Oreal's, etc., they're going to want to understand not just what you've got technology-wise and performance-wise, but what does the supply chain look like? You should have from day one a good cost model, which goes all the way back through the supply chain. You should have, as early as you possibly can, a good understanding of product carbon footprint and the contribution of the supply chain to that PCF measurement. So don't take anything for granted in the supply chain. And don't take yield for granted when you're figuring out your manufacturing process. This all goes together and feeds into your cost model, and it's something, again, you should have a very good understanding of from day one, and you keep refining that, obviously, as you go forward. The fifth thing that you have to master, and you have to encourage whoever else in the business is involved in the business with you, investors or whoever, has to master: patience. I always say that chemicals take time and money, especially time. You're not going to get a new raw material into a big surfactant user in months. It's going to be years. It's going to be 4 or 5 years in the major brands, obviously quicker than that in the indie brands, the fast-moving brands. But you've got to be in this for the long haul, and you've got to be upfront with your business partners and your investors. There has to be an understanding. This is not fast turnaround type of business. And so have that patience, understand the time frames from the very beginning. If you can bring in patient capital, great. If you can delay the bringing in as much as possible of the more traditional venture capital with those venture capital time frames, that is also great. So please do bear that in mind to do yourself and your investors a favor. So those are the 5 things that you should really master before embarking on the journey of starting a surfactant company. This wasn't intended to scare you off. This was intended to save you time, money, and a little bit of heartburn. I hope it's been useful. Thanks for listening.